Hey, it's Neon from Frozen Sand, and today we're going to be making a short tutorial looking at the installation of the Urban Terra mapping plugin. I'm going to record in separate sections just so I can remove any outtakes. Then we will get on with downloading the Unreal Engine. So we'll go to the support pages under Urban Terra 5 documents and getting Unreal 4 engine. So this is documented all over the internet, so I won't go into the finer details. Basically we go to the Epic Games Store website, download the Epic Games launcher, and that will get us to the Epic Games launcher, which I can magically whoosh across there. Here's one I installed earlier. This will be blank. You'll add an engine version, select the latest version. We're currently on 4.26.2. Hit install. No, didn't want to do that. Yes, I did. There we go. Options. So we can actually remove all of this if you want to save a bit of space. The only thing we need to definitely include is the Linux for when we come to compile maps for Linux. Apply those settings and then you hit install, and that will go to your default folder. So if we come back out of there, I'll assume that you're installing the engine. Once it's installed, you can hit launch from a number of places or from your desktop shortcut. Let's call the instructions back up, so that will get us through all of this all the way down to there. There we go, we've done this bit. So next we're going to launch up and start creating the project. So we'll just call the launcher up again. So we want to launch the engine, start up a new project. I might stop the video occasionally just to let things process through, as they're a bit slow occasionally. So just waiting for the engine to start up now. Then we'll go through just creating a basic empty project. So here we have games, next, blank project, next. The default settings are fairly standard. Blueprint project, disabled ray tracing, maximum quality, desktop console, no starter content. And we're going to call this mapping plugin. I'm trying to type at a distance there and create project. And off that goes. So that's just starting up the mapping plugin there, so I shall come back when that's done. Right, so that's just finished loading up. So we've got our default project. So we shall come back to this in a minute, so we'll close that back down again. So the next thing we want to do is get the Urban Terra mapping plugin file. Oh, here we go, launcher, go away, don't need you. So we'll download the Urban Terra mapping plugin from here. So that should kick off my download screen. I'll hit down in the corner there. It'll take a few minutes to go. So again, we'll just skip until that's finished. Right, so that download's finished. So we'll find that on the desktop there, as if by magic. So we'll call up the Epic Launcher again. We want to navigate to our project folder, so we can go open that. Remove that again. And then we want to go into our content folder. Actually, we've gone up a level too far there. So we need a plugins folder here. New folder. Plugins. Then we shall unzip our mapping plugin. So we want to extract all. I'll keep working on a second screen, it isn't helping very much. Yeah, go in and extract it to the desktop. That'll do for now. Zip away. Again, we'll come back in a few. So actually, it's quicker than I thought there. Bonus of SSDs, eh? There we go. So we're going to grab that, get rid of that one, just move that into there. Right. So, where are we? Let's grab my instructions back again, refresh my memory where we are. So we've created the plugin zip folder. So now we need to enter the configuration information. So we go into my project config. So we're going to navigate our way there. Never find these things when I want them. Right, mapping plugin, config, default engine. That's the one we want first. So what we've got to stick in there. If we go back to our plugins folder. In the README, we have a bit of gumph about the plugin first, or plugin. I have to get that changed. We want to take all of this. So that's all the settings that change the standard Unreal Engine, and add all of the specifics for the game. So it's materials, collisions, graphics setups, etc. So we will plonk that in there, save that. So that's our default config done. So the technical detail of what that does is all written in here if you want to read up on that. A little bit of advice on folder structures. Generally for a normal level you want something quite simple. What's important is the initial folder structure. So in the so this would be the name of your level. So it could be orbital, turnpike. So that will be the name of your project there. You can name it something different. You can name your level differently, but I normally keep the project name the same as the level name. So under your content folder, we will create here, as it also we'll go into a bit later, content third party. So we can do that while we're here now, just to get started early. Yep, spelled that right. And then we will stick our level in here. Again, we'll call it test level. That will do. And that's where you will then generally put all of your maps and other assets for the game. So moving on from there, we'll get into the setting up your project. So before we get into opening up Unreal Engine again, we're just going to create a few more folders here. So we'll create our maps folder. We'll create a materials folder. And just a textures folder for now. That will get us started. So that is the folder structure set up. Got the plugin ready. So we'll then launch up the engine. So let's get this out of the way again. Stretching all over the place. I've lost my taskbar. Call that back up, and we can load that straight from there. Just wait for the engine to boot itself. Right, so we want to get a bit confused having the content browser there. Let's stick it at the side, makes it a bit easier for me to see. Right, so content at the side, third party, so that's our test level maps materials under there. And our world settings under here. So you should have your Urban Terra world settings come up straight away, but you may not, depending on your engine. So what we'll need to do is a couple of things. Down here we want to show plugin content, so that's in your content browser view options, and in our plugins folder, and we'll just make sure that we've got our My Project Urban Terra plugin enabled. So we'll then want to save our level, save current, so we're going to save that map as in test map, and we're going to put that in our test level maps folder. We'll save that, so that's now in there. You could also, if you had wanted to, rather than using the default one that's there, right click, add a new level, done it that way, but just for ease of use. So we have a level in the maps folder. Just a couple of notes, features that you can't use for security and to stop people hacking. Unreal Engine has a lot of powerful features, particularly something called blueprints, which is a scripting programming feature. That's disabled, so any blueprints that you need for the engine we will provide in the plugin. When you use those assets in the level, they will get replaced with the actual game assets when your level's packed, but we'll get into that a bit later. So we've enabled our plugin content. So next option we want to have a look at is the demo level content. So if I'll just stop there and then we'll get into that. So now a few details on working with the mapping plugin. So we're just going to look at the plugin directory, the demo level, and some of the assets. So if we have a look in our folder list, need to get a mouse, this trackball's a bit fiddly sometimes. So we've got the content directory right the way down the bottom. We have the Urban Terra mapping plugin content, so that will give us a selection of assets. Have a quick look at those. I won't go into these into detail in this particular tutorial. There's a lot of information on the Custom Map Maker's website about a lot of these, but this is where we'll find things like the damage volumes, location markers, so that's where you can get locations popping up on your screen if people are in certain areas, player starts, flags. Oh, I don't want to be in the assets, I'm in the wrong folder. I want to be in the mapping tools, that's the main one, there we go. Player starts, there we go, locations, capture the flags. So these are dummy flags, but we'll have a look at those again in a minute as well. So what we want to do is, lost it again. Within here we have a demo level, call it demo level, so we can just have a quick look at that out of interest. Let's get this out of the way. There's probably shortcut keys to do all of this, but there we go. So basically the demo level just gives you some examples of all of the things that the mapping plugin contains. So player starts, you'll find that if you drop one of those in the level, they can be configured down here. So for example, under the Urban Terra settings, we can set the team, so we can make that a player start for Red Dragons, URT, or an any person start. So all of that information, how everything works, is all in this demo level. Lots and lots of content, so plenty of material to be having a read from. That goes into all of the different assets. There we go. See, capture the flags. These are our dummy flags, red and blue. So we don't need to worry about that. So let's call back up our. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll add that to favourites, so we can get back to that easier. And we will add our third-party test level to our favourites. There we go. Just makes it quicker to get back to. Maps, test map. We don't want to save the mapping demo level. So what we can do in here, if we call up our mapping content, mapping tools, game, and we'll just drop a player start in there out of interest. And we'll drop a blue flag. Why does he seem extremely small? I'll have to check out these sizes and maybe re-upload if that's gone wrong somewhere. Yeah, so what will happen is all of these assets are placeholders in essence. So the blueprints behind them, we can't allow them to be in here in case people edit them and do things they shouldn't be doing. So what we do is all of these assets that get placed, when we cook the level, it leaves a marker, but then when the game's your level's loaded in the actual game, these will be replaced with the real assets from the game files themselves. Right, so what's next in our little tutorial? World settings. So we'll go into setting up the world settings. Okay, let's find that next. So if you did things correctly at the beginning, and we've got all of the Urban Terror settings in the default engine file, all of this should be working. But if you find you come into your world settings down here, and you don't have an Urban Terror section, then you'll need to go into your project settings, and I can never remember where this is at. There we go, project settings, engine general settings, default classes. Engine, A, B, C, D. We're going mad. Engine. It's the big word here, you can't miss it. General settings, there we go, getting there. World settings class, so there we go, that's the so this has been set because we did that text file thing at the beginning. If it's stuck on the default one and you didn't set it at the beginning, you can reset it there, but we shouldn't have to worry about that. So what this is going to do is, this is work in progress. So at the moment you can put some information in here, so this is the information that will appear when you load your level up. There we go, that'll do for now. So if you do a loading screen image, you could put that in your textures file and load that into there. If it's a jump map, you can put the number of jumps. Game mode specifics, again this is getting a bit into the details, but you can add sub-levels. So you build your basic level first in your maps. This would be your main map. You can create sub-levels so you can have them customized for different game modes. So you could have a CTF game mode with certain doors blocked off. You might have a free-for-all where everything's nice and open. And within that, let's have a look. So we've got minimap tools, mapping tools, saw that somewhere, minimap tool. So this is a volume, it's basically a camera that does an overhead picture There we go, so you can see the big volume there. That does an overhead picture of your map, so that's what you give the corner map screen. So that's called Minimap Tool 01, so we can say that we're going to use, as that's already selected, I can pop it straight in there. Minimap tool. There we go. Right, so that's what we'll use for our minimap. Additional sub-levels, so this is where if you've got some sub-levels for your capture the flag sub-level, you would select that and add it in here. That's probably it for now, it's enough information. Now map settings, this is quite important, so this is a feature we're just adding in. I'll tell you what I can do. It's going to make it easier for browsing if I have two content browsers. So this is the one we're working on, and this is the one we've got mapping content in, so I can get rid of that. So mapping tools, try and remember game. So all of this information that's in here will be moving over into a separate asset, a data asset. So longer term, I'll to copy one of those there. We're going to rename that the same as my level, which is called test level. I could have called it test map really, but there we go, test level. So you've got your why have I called that test map and that test level? They're not concentrating. So these should be renamed, they should be all the same, so this is actually what your level is going to be called. Should have called it Neon's map or something like that. So this is our, should we block this just there for now? Yeah, so you'll see this is a replication of the information in here. So this is what we'll be using longer term, but this is work in progress at the moment. But for the purpose of getting your map into game, this is the information that will be displayed in screen, and this will slowly disappear. But we'll leave that for now. Right, so where are we next? Just hoping I'm doing all this in the same order as the tutorial. Yep, so we've talked about the Urban Terra mapping section, a bit about the work in progress map data for the world settings. Okay, cooking and packing. So this is a quick jump forward. So obviously you'd spend a nice lot of time coming up with a nice new level. Actually, what we'll do, I should set that as a. I should duplicate that player start. Which one's in Control W for duplicate. So we will have a so players allowed to spawn here bots. We haven't got bots yet, but that will do. So we'll have red dragons, and we'll have blue team, red team. Player starts. We'll save our level, and we'll call up our instructions again. See where we go next. So cooking and packaging. So we need to add a primary data asset. So what this is going to do is label all of the files within our map, so we can basically cook them into one package. So where we go with that? Let's move that out of the way. So I normally plonk this in the root of your level. So this is where you have all the different maps. So this is the one we're working on. We want to add a where we go, physics, data assets, miscellaneous, data asset, primary asset label. So there we go. What we're going to call that? We don't want new data asset. Right, so this is, so everything in the game gets a priority. So as long as this has got a higher priority than the standard files, it will get packed. So you could just put a priority of 1, but we put a priority of 1,000 in there. Chunk ID, we can make that 10. Normally the main game assets will get packed into what's called pack files in essence. So chunk 1 or chunk 0 being pack 0 would be the main game content. So your level needs to be something above 0, so you could just put 1 and put in 10 just to make things easy. What else am I setting? We want to apply recursively, so that means that any files in subfolders of these will get the same settings as anything in this directory as well, so that makes sure that everything gets packed. So what we mustn't do is have any files outside of these folders or outside of your test level, so you can't put third party or content. You can't have anything stored there, it all has to be within your test level, so either in this main folder or in subfolders. And where are we going? We also want to have an explicit asset, so this is where we put in our main level. Easiest way to get to that is open up our maps, select the level and use this little arrow. So that's saying that within this pack, that is the primary level asset. Everything else then that's related to that will also get cooked. That's it for that one. Get rid of that. Go up a level, so we can call that PAL for primary asset label underscore test level. So I just like to name things so they've all kind of tied in with the same theme. Okay, and next we want to, what do we want to do? Check the destructions again. Always read the destructions. Zoomed in a bit there. So we've created our primary asset. So now we need to set a couple of options in the project settings. Basically what we're going to do is tell the project not to cook any of the mapping plugin settings. So we're going to need this directory. We're going into project settings, project packaging. So edit, project settings, projects, packaging. Always forget where these things are. Share material shader code. Don't want that on. It's annoying having it on by default. Basically tries to reuse things to save a bit of space, but it causes problems. I'll say no more. Problems are bad. Directories to never cook. So I don't know if you saw that, there's a little down arrow thing there. That gets you advanced options. Directories never to cook. Add and paste the Urban Terra mapping in there, because that's a directory we don't want to cook. Yeah, we'll restart later. It's because I've changed some settings, so we can come out of the project settings. They save by default, you don't have to hit save. Right, where are we going now? So we've set the material shaders, set the project settings. If you're probably not so much for now, we're still working on Windows, packing for Linux, there's some documentation about some extra Linux files to download, but we can come back to those another day. So now we're ready to prepare to launch the file for cooking. Don't know how long we've been going, but we're getting through this quite quickly. So project So window project launcher. See if I can remember some of these settings. Probably not. Let's get that out of the way. So window project launcher. I don't want to join it to everything else. So this is basically where we set all the details. So I've actually got some already set up there. So this will be blank. We don't want to use the default launchers for cooking. So we're going to just set up our custom profile. So we can call this cook test level. That'll do. Don't need a description. Project mapping plugin. Again, I don't know why I called it that. I should have called it test level to be consistent. But there we go. We want to build a shipping build. We want to build, obviously. Advanced options, don't need to worry about any of those. Cook, we want to cook by the book. Cooked platforms, Windows no editor. Longer term, we could have, where's my Linux no editor as well. Not going to worry about that today. It'll take twice as long to cook, and we're not going to be testing on Linux at the moment. Best to just build for the platform you're on in the testing stages. Languages will be set at English already anyway. Don't need to worry about any of that. Cultures. So if you've got a number of sub-levels, they'll be listed here. You only want to select your main level. This is what I'm going to forget what I need to do. So let's have a quick check of those settings. Right, so advanced settings, compress, save, store, generate, and don't. That's under advanced. Compress, save, store in a single pack, generate chunks, don't include editor content. I think that was it, wasn't it? Put your hand up if you remember anything different. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 there. Okay. The other one stays empty. Might say package and store locally and don't deploy. So we can come down here, packaging. Package and store locally. Don't wish to archive. Deploy. Do not deploy. We're not sending it off anywhere. And launcher, that's already done. So under package and store locally, I don't know if you can see it under there, but that's by default. It's going to save it in my levels plugin folder, saved stage builds, but you can type in a manual path if you want to put it somewhere else. So that's set up to go. So now, have I saved everything? Nothing left to save. That's all saved. Levels are in there. We can cook our test level. So we hit launch the profile. And off it goes. We'll come back in a couple of minutes. Still here. First time round it will take longer to cook because it's building all of the cache files. If you come to cook again, it'll be quicker the second time round because it doesn't have to rebuild everything. It only rebuilds most of the things that have changed. So we're up at a minute now. So I'll go and make myself a cup of tea. So I think I could fill some time. Let's have a quick look at the CMM Mapmaker's website. So if we just skip ahead all the way down to the bottom here. So we have so Just opening a new tab so I don't forget where I am, because we'll need to come back to this in a moment. Yeah, the Custom Map Makers Wiki, pedia. So this is a mirror of the mapping plugin destructions in here. It's all the same content, different background. But we also have, this is work in progress, so there'll be more and more added to this as time passes. We've got little assets you can drop into the game. What else have we got? Mapping tutorials. I must say I haven't read through these yet myself. But it's all about the what have we got in here? Blender. So map creation tools, where to start. Blimey, there's loads. So you can keep yourself busy for a weekend reading these. Creating a map, converting an existing map, working with Unreal materials, lighting, making models, migrating projects, adding different entities. So it's the whole caboodle in there. This is gradually being added to all the time with more and more resources. I'd also recommend jumping onto the CMM Discord channel for discussions about mapping, and if you've got any questions, good place to start. So how are we doing with our 6 minutes? Okay, time for another cup of tea. Yeah, so we'll be at 8 minutes. So the reason it's taking so long at the moment is first time round builds a load of shaders. So all the materials that are in the engine has to compile all of those. So the reason obviously the download's a lot quicker. So it only gives you the core files, and all of the shaders build afterwards. So this is what adds some of the size to the engine after you've already downloaded and installed it. So on our way down there, where we're down to 600, and it's coming down 500. Another couple of minutes, I reckon. So I've just cancelled the cooking. I was up to 16 minutes and I realised I've missed one of the settings. For your benefit, that was a test to see if anyone would notice. I left the cooker build configuration as development. I actually wanted shipping, so it's trying to cook more than I actually wanted to cook. So try again. Second time lucky. That saves automatically. It'll be a little bit quicker this time. Again, I'm not going to make you stand around and wait. I shall pause it and come back momentarily. There we go. It's going a lot quicker this time. Right. So there we are. That was the launching the thing took ages. That was the long. Well, you can see the 11 minutes. It's actually a bit longer because I restarted it and some of it had already been done. But everything has completed successfully. So that is our packaged game. So let's go and find it. I can remember where I put everything. So mapping plugin, so that would be under saved. Stage builds, Windows no editor. This isn't the right place. Oh, it is the right place. I thought I'd gone the wrong way then. So it's in your level, saved, stage builds, Windows no editor, mapping plugin, content, packs. And you remember we set our primary asset label to chunk 10, which means we then have our, so as I said, chunk 0, so that's some of the game contents, that's all the shaders and other bits and bobs that we don't need for the, in this case. It packages them anyway. And this is our level, so it's only 1 megabyte. Nice small. You can expect that to get up to 10 gigabytes once you've got a fully working level. But basically what we do, actually, I'll normally leave a copy there in case it cooks another one over the top, but just for the purpose of this demonstration. So you name the pack the same as your level, or your map. So I'm getting used to calling them levels, but maps. So you'll have your, where are we down here? Get rid of that. I only need one content browser, get rid of that. Get back to the beginning. So we have our map name. In the map name folder we have a maps folder with our primary map level. So it's all called test level, in test level, and then in test level. So we've then called the pack test level as well, and that is what you will then distribute for people to play. I think that's probably getting to the end of it. So yes, our pack chunk, I've renamed it. Bit of other information here, not particularly relevant for this particular tutorial, but performance considerations, version control. I'll let you read all these separately. That's about it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to come and join us on our Discord channel.